another poorly planned, budgeted, and executed summary of the Worst People We Know podcast. If you're not a regular listener of TWPWK, we're a weekly podcast about tech and business and tangents. We go on a lot of tangents, but mostly tech and business. And your hosts are three overeducated, underemployed, and overly privileged white males without full-time jobs. So let's get into episode 102. The first thing we started talking about was solar. Our host Sean pays extra to get solar energy associated with his property. But then we started talking about the Trump administration and their energy policies and sustainability. And we realized, if you're going to have a fossil fuel focused energy policy, you can make that sustainable, but you just have to invest in your dinosaur farms. There's no dinosaur policy that I know of. I know of no amber farms that are receiving subsidies from the Trump administration. And so we really hold them to task. That starts at about minute 640. We then moved on to talking directly about Trump. Again, this is a business and technology podcast, but I guess there is some political, economic interaction, and so we're getting a little heady when we talk about that. Regardless, this was a story that we talked about from the New York Times where Trump, when he was at Walter Reed Medical Center receiving treatment for COVID, floated multiple times to his aides that he wanted a Willy Wonka-like re-entrance into the world where he would be looking really weak, and then he would tear open his button-up shirt to reveal a Superman t-shirt. And the only thing that seems unbelievable about this story is that his aides were able to convince him not to do it. Speaking about other crazy billionaires, if you guys don't know who John McAfee is, you should really look up John McAfee. He is a nutter. He owned internet, or I guess computer security antivirus software that was very popular in the 90s. Not a big fan of paying taxes. You should follow him on Twitter if you want a good laugh. Anyway, he was arrested for not paying taxes recently. He also lived on a boat for a decently long period of time to try and just be in international waters and be under the domain of no government. So anyway, John McAfee. We talk about him for a bit. We'll put some links in the show notes so you can see some other things to get connected and read more about this guy. At minute 13:15, we start talking about Tesla dissolving their PR department, which is an interesting choice since we spent the week before this episode talking about how bad their presentation was on Battery Day. But hey, maybe that's an indication of how bad their department was, so get rid of them. Then we started talking about Amazon. Amazon has 19,000 believed cases of COVID within their workforce, which is crazy, but that's actually below what they would be expected to get based on the average infection rate in the United States, because Amazon has 1.3 million employees in the US, which is nuts. To give you a concept, that's half the size of the Department of Defense, and the Department of Defense includes all the military branches. Completely nuts. Then we started talking about NASA, and NASA has this kind of innovative way of funding itself now, where they charge companies money to send their products up with the astronauts and do product placements from space. So now we have astronauts who are sort of influencers, which is an odd thing, and NASA says this is a good thing they're going to do more of. It's going to be about 5% of the astronauts' time is spent on these product placements, but I guess if it funds science, it is what it is. Anyway, that's a summary of what we talked about. Oh, I almost forgot. Recommendations. We end every episode with recommendations. This week we recommended Wealthfront. It's a great kind of robo-advisor. We don't get paid for these, by the way. Unless you want to just send us money, Wealthfront. You have my accounts already. Just put some in it. If you want to give it to the kids in their college accounts, that's fine. I would prefer my personal cash account. You just tell me how much you think this endorsement's worth. Wealthfront. Anyway, it's a robo-advisor. You should check it out. We also talked about Jim Gaffigan's new special that's on Amazon Prime if you are a Gaffigan fan. So that was a summary of episode 102. If you'd like to subscribe to the podcast for your listening ears, you can go to twpwk.com. There's a bunch of links for anywhere you get your pods. You should also subscribe to these summaries, which are significantly briefer than our hour-plus episodes that we release every week. So go ahead and hit whatever, somewhere down in this region, there should be a subscribe button, and you should subscribe to us on the YouTubes. Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.